We already know that Germans make some pretty darn good cars and instruments.
It's the greatest beer in all the world.
And beer and audio equipment. Oh yes, they do audio. Sennheiser, one of my favorite headphone and microphone manufacturers, I'm using their ATX system right now. They have two new toys for you this year, one of which is their first product in the truly wireless fitness category. Today, I'm gonna walk you through all you need to know about the brand new Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 3 earbuds and double feature, a first for the company, their new Sport True Wireless earbuds. Let's get into them. Hey, if this video helps you, if any of the videos on this channel that you've seen from any of my other colleagues help you, please consider hitting us with that thumbs up, hitting that subscribe, and clicking that notification bell so you'll be notified when we upload the latest content and when we run our content. First up, this is going to be a lengthy one. So make sure you hit the chapter markers below if you want to skip around to a particular device or feature. Speaking of which, let's talk feature sets first. With the Momentums, you're gonna get a beautiful case that is not quite as small as some others, but is a premium experience. From its fabric cover to the satisfying magnetic click when you close the case, to the bright LED on the front, to the built-in wireless charging, it is fully appointed. My only gripe would be the USB-C port on the front instead of the rear. As most folk have it, you plug this up on your desk, you're more than likely going to have that LED facing away from you, making it difficult to see the LED status. On the other hand, since it is wireless charging enabled, I wouldn't call this a huge deal. It's going to take you an hour and a half to charge from dead, but you'll get 1 hour of music playback on a 10-minute charge. Sennheiser says you get 7 hours of playback time with ANC off and 6.5 with it on, and 3 recharges in the case. Frankly, I'll need more time to thoroughly test that as I experienced some differences between my Android and iOS use. More on that in a bit. The earbuds themselves have a custom 7mm driver in each bud with Sennheiser's True Response technology, which made for a noteworthy listening experience that I'll dive into later in this review. Along with that driver, each earbud has 3 microphones with beamforming technology for solid calls and to aid with noise controls. Speaking of controls, these are touch sensitive, no mechanical push button controls here. You can pick up a pair of the black color I have here, or graphite or white. The Sport True Wireless features the same True Response transducer featuring their 7mm dynamic driver, but comes with additional ear tips. Their adaptable acoustics feature, which centers around open and closed ear adapter options and accompanying EQ settings in the app. The Sports up the durability with not only splash and water resistance, but dust resistance as well. They're IP54 instead of IPX4 like the Momentums. They are touch enabled as well. The Sports have 2 beamforming mics in each bud for a total of 4. I have a live mic test coming up later for both. The Sport True Wireless are available in any color as long as it's black, with a swanky copper logo on the top. The case for them isn't wireless enabled, but does have a protected USB-C port on the rear, as well as handy lanyard loop on the side and a lanyard included in the box. These should get you around 8 hours of playback in my experience, using them at the gym for a week. Like the Momentums, you'll get 3 more charges in the case. In terms of user experiences with those feature sets, let's talk about the Sport first. The fit customization really is so granular that it hopefully will present an option for almost anyone to get a secure, comfortable fit. For me, I went with the small ear gel for the right bud and medium for the left with the same size wings on both, which gave me the best fit. I did try both the Focus and Aware adaptable acoustic ear tips, And what you get is interesting. The sound quality with the Focus ear tips is very much in line with what you've come to expect from Sennheiser, while the Aware ear tips and their accompanying EQ give you a flatter sound profile which backs off the presence, mids, and lows so that internal sound isn't competing with the external world outside your earbuds. In the gym, I could definitely hear more of my environment around me, just like I could on the street. But there's a difference here between this mechanical Aware and the transparency mode on the Momentum. With Aware ear tips and the accompanying EQ, you're getting a passive ability to let the world in, like open back headphones. Transparency modes use microphones to allow sound in and in some cases amplify that sound akin to a hearing aid. Of the two, I think I prefer the transparency mode because when I want to switch to being aware of my environment, I can just hit a button, digitally turn on or off that feature. In order to change the awareness on the Sport, I have to physically change the ear tips every time. We'll talk about that more in a bit in practice when we talk about Sennheiser's Smart Control app. In terms of actually using them for sport, I have to say that I enjoyed the fit, comfort, and stay in placeness. Yeah, that's a word. Matter of fact, the first time I placed these in my ears, I really like how locked in they felt. I'd place them up there with one of my all-around faves, Beats Fit Pro. Once I got the fit right, they did not move. And getting the fit right is really easy to do. You simply pull off the default wings and replace with a size which works best for you. Same with the ear tips. They pull right off and you push the next ones onto the stems. Speaking of ear tips, with the Focus ear tips in use, the sound quality was delightful. Definitely tuned with punchy mids and lows without sacrificing clarity in the high frequencies. The out-of-the-box sound profile very similar to their Urbanite series, which is what many users seem to want in the gym, those driving beats that help you get through a workout. But if it's podcasts you listen to, the wonderfully designed app has you covered with an EQ setting which enhances speech clarity. And I'm gonna jump ahead a bit of really getting into the Momentum's user experience. I want you to hear what the microphones of the Sport sound like with the urban sounds in the background so you'll know what to expect if you have to take a call at the gym. But we're gonna listen to the Momentums first in this mic test. You're hearing the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 3 microphones and their ability to mitigate traffic, urban noise. So you can get a sense of if they'll work, if they're good enough for you, if you're someone who commutes and is outdoors among the people, as you will. So, if you will. That's that. That is the Sennheiser True Wireless Momentum 3s or Momentum True Wireless 3s. So this is a microphone test in a controlled environment in a quiet room. This is my edit suite on the day job. Had a little downtime, so I want you to hear as a control what the Momentum 3s sound like in a quiet environment. So you get a better idea of how these microphones sound when there isn't a bunch of extra noise. Now you're listening to the microphones from the Sennheiser Sport True Wireless, the new sport specific or sport focused wireless earbuds that they just put out this year. So this is what you're going to get from the multiple microphones on each bud, and this is what you're going to sound like when you're in a controlled, in a calm, a quiet environment. You are now listening to Sennheiser's new Sport True Wireless. This is what their microphones sound like sitting in the middle of this busy urban jungle here, all this traffic noise, all this urban noise. There's a construction site across the way from me, and like I said, tons of cars, tons of traffic here. So if you're someone who's commuting, or if you're in the gym and you've got a bunch of gym noise around you, this will give you a good idea of what it would sound like to be in the midst of all that noise and taking a phone call. And this is what your caller would hear. What did you think? For me, the Momentum 3 sounds better here, but given the difference in the tech packed into the Momentum 3s, 2 more mics total, I don't think there are any surprises here. So let's talk about the Momentum True Wireless 3 user experience, then the app when connected to the threes. After that, I'll talk about the app when connected to the sports, as it is essentially the same experience, minus a few features. Hands down, this is one of the best listening experiences in Bluetooth earbuds, period. They present a massive soundstage relative to their size and their compression. AAC on iOS and aptX on Android. Listening to my FLAC files on Android was sublime. Paul Simon's diamonds on the soles of her shoes, stereo image, airiness, layers, range, all brilliantly reproduced by both earbuds, though the Sport specifically with the Focus ear tips, as I mentioned earlier. Hans Zimmer's Gotham's Reckoning off the Dark Knight Rises soundtrack was equally immersive. Jumping over to my test playlist on Apple Music, Sennheiser's earbuds handled Method Man's Biscuits with the Plum. A track which is, as I've said before, very muddy. Listening at max volume, there was not one iota of distortion, and Method Man's vocals were not lost in the bass or mids due to Sennheiser's True Response transducer, which features a custom-made magnet system with triple-channel ventilation, which they say reduces the distortion factor even at high sound pressure levels. If Biscuits is my True Response stress test track, then Sennheiser's tech passes the test with flying colors. Needless to say, I think the rest of the songs on my test playlist were equally immersive. Art Blakey's Moanin', The Doors' Dolby remaster of Riders on the Storm, and Double X Posse's Not Gonna Be Able to Do It. An interesting side note on audio quality, both earbuds behaved differently with regard to volume levels on iOS versus how they played on Android. When connected to an iPhone 13 Pro Max, it was as if it didn't drive the buds as hard and I had to crank the volume all the way up. This wasn't due to any setting in iOS, as I had earbud and headphone settings which normalize tracks and decrease volumes to protect hearing turned off. With the earbuds connected to Samsung's S22 Ultra and the Note 20 Ultra, I still had the volume relatively high but well below the max. For the Momentum True Wireless 3, the MTW3s, noise canceling out on the streets, on the sidewalk was solid. They really hushed quite a bit of sound. Of course, I wouldn't suggest that's the best place to use the adaptive noise canceling, which you can't adjust, by the way. Subjecting them to 80 decibels of simulated airplane cabin noise, they did a great job of hushing the lower frequency sounds and attenuating the higher frequencies. You should be fine with these on your daily commute or in a coffee shop or even a chatty open office work environment. Now, let's talk about that app. Sennheiser's Smart Control app is beautifully designed and laid out. Once you've connected your device to the app, you'll get their home screen with tiles for quite a few things. The first tab is the Connections tab, which is where you can see all of the devices your earbuds have a Bluetooth connection to. Although each device does not support multi-point pairing, but does have a multi-connect feature. From the app, you can select a device and the earbuds will connect to that device without having to re-pair. Next up is the equalizer tile, which does exactly what it sounds like. Below that is the sound check tile, which when you fire it up, will perform a hearing test of sorts, customizing sound to your ears and allowing you to add that as an EQ preset. You'll have to sign into or register for a Sennheiser account to be able to use this feature. It's pretty cool because it allows you to create these presets based on music genres instead of one hearing test which adjusts all of your music the same across genres. Then there's the transparency mode, which allows you to adjust the mix of environment to music with or without it paused, and the ANC settings with an anti-wind configuration, which works surprisingly well when I listen to outdoors on a windy day. Sound zones is the next tile down and requires location access so you can create geo-fenced zones, which will automatically adjust your settings based on your location. Walking to the gym on your lunch break, you can set the earbuds to automatically adjust noise control and EQ when entering or leaving a zone. The last tile gives you the ability to enable or disable and customize the touch controls. When you go into that tile, touching a control function brings up a menu of alternate control options, easy peasy. Note that you cannot customize calling functions. The Settings tab at the bottom controls app settings and some device settings like Smart Pause, which pauses music when you remove an earbud. It will also show you which codec your device is using to decode audio files. With the Sport earbuds, you add a tab for the adaptable acoustics with no tabs for noise control, since that is not a feature. But you do get side tone control, which is the ability to control how much of yourself you hear when on a call so you aren't shouting at your caller. You also lose the sound zones function. In the final analysis, the Momentum True Wireless 3 is a superb set of earbuds with excellent features, strong noise canceling, and the top-notch sound quality that Sennheiser is known for. You really can't go wrong here. The Sport, being the first gen in Sennheiser's truly wireless fitness category, is a fabulous first effort. I really enjoyed the fit and comfort, and I'd love to see the noise canceling and transparency on a Gen 2 set of Sport earbuds, even if that brings the cost up a bit. I think the addition of those two features would make them the premium fitness, truly wireless buds to beat on Android. Hey, I'm Tshaka Armstrong for Reviews.org. If you have any questions about either of these Sennheiser earbuds that I maybe didn't answer in my review, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. I'll get to them. Love chatting with you guys here online. You're a great group. I'll catch you on the next video.